Welcome back to Anderson Street. We are talking about oppression today. Quite the umbrella topic. It's good, it's gritty, it gets intense. I got some dope homies at the table, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as we like talking about it.
All right, I'll start this one. So this whole topic actually came out of a conversation I was having at my dinner table with my family. And they were asking what are you doing? What's the show about? How's it going? And I was like, this is good. This is what we're doing. We're encouraging civil discourse amongst people completely different. But then it got to it grew into a conversation about how at what point does the oppressor have to the oppressed have to educate the oppressor on what is appropriate and what's not. Mm-hmm. And so that bled into a conversation of what the N-word means. Gotcha. And please don't take this and this is coming from a perspective I don't understand this, and I have friends who are black who are of socioeconomic backgrounds who are similar to mine. I've got friends who are of socioeconomic backgrounds that are different than mine, and so they all use the word in connotation that's friendly, and then if they do something bad, it's of aggression, and so it has that connotation of both meanings. Yeah. When it's black to black. And so the way that I relate to it is I'm Jewish. I have Jewish friends. I would never go to my Jewish friend and be like, "What's up, kike?" Or, excuse me, I should not say that. That can be edited out.
But you need to put it out because I'm gonna say the N-word.
Okay.
I'm gonna say nigga.
You said it. Okay.
You said
okay. So this is the thing. This is the. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, I don't want to make you to feel uncomfortable.
Okay, right.
You know,
that's when I called Vic up on the phone. I was like, Vic, this should be a topic. Cause and I was even. I texted Vic. I was like, Vic, I think I've got a topic.
Right.
And she was like, what is it? I was like, Vic, I don't want to text this. I felt really uncomfortable texting.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so it's the equivalent of because I'm Jewish, me going to another friend and that word from its roots are very derogatory.
Right.
And so it's equivalent me going to another Jewish person and saying that as a black person going to another black person and saying that.
Right.
But it's really I've grown up knowing that it's not okay for you and I to say that. I don't get it. Why is it not okay for us to do something when it's so common in your vernacular?
Okay, I know. You go ahead. I'm
gonna just wait on this one.
Okay. I'm just gonna say that I have been struggling with this conversation more than I anticipated that I would. So I'm also going to sit here and pause and really just allow Mark to take this one for a moment.
And I'm going to sit here and listen because this is something I've had this conversation with my friends and it comes to the point where they just say it's just cuz.
Yeah. Well, oppression. The oppressor used that to degrade. Mm-hmm. You know.
To label, to
categorize. Yeah, I mean, everything basically you could put it as is how it's said by this, and of course it's coming from 400 years
of being normalized. It wasn't a nickname.
You know,
that was what we
that's
were
what you were. You know, so when someone outside of our color spectrum says it, you know, honestly, it goes off a sound at time too. How I say that and why I say that, because I did have a Caucasian friend that said it.
Right, but nigga, not nigger.
Yeah.
That's another distinction.
Right.
That's a massive distinction.
Massive. So you know what it is, but at the same time, it was a factor that I had to sit and have a conversation with the person around, because who they hung around, let it be okay. Right. And to protect them for further from then on is to tell them, you know, you can't use that, you know. In our society, black culture, hip hop, it's used all the time.
All the time.
I use it. I'm not gonna sit up and say I don't.
It's being reclaimed.
Yeah, it's being reclaimed as a positive.
That's the difference.
So if it's being reclaimed
for certain people to use,
so that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Can I jump in?
Please.
Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Do you have a girlfriend?
Yes.
Can I call your girlfriend? Can I say that's my girlfriend? Can I outwardly say that's my girlfriend?
Or call her boo?
Can I call her boo? Or
it doesn't bother me.
Can I call your mom? Right? Can I be when you're not around, can I be yo, that's my mom?
I think if my very close friends, absolutely.
I'm not a close friend.
Sure.
That's right. And so, like, me and your mother don't have that relationship, right? So there's no reason why I should be calling your mother mom. We don't have that connection. We don't have that history.
Okay.
Right? We don't have that type of relationship. It's disrespectful for me to be calling her mom when she's not my mom. That's not the type of relationship or history that we have. So for you to say, why can't other people say it, or why do we say that other people can say it? That's like saying, like, oh, even though you don't have this type of relationship or this type of history, you're still going to use this out of context because you're using power on this word that you really don't have any relationship to. So for us, it's more than just like, you can't call this person this because you don't have that relationship. You can't say it at all. Why? Because like, you are someone who sits in privilege, and this word will never impact you in the ways that it impacts me, right? So when another black person calls me nigga, I know they've been called nigga by the oppressor, right? And I know that they're reclaiming that word to show that we have a connection, right, that other people outside of us don't have that connection to. So if someone who is non-black, I don't even care if it's like a Chinese person, which China is colonizing Africa right now, so there's a whole other context around hip-hop culture and blackness and colonizing black people from China. But you can't say that to me, right? Because that person holds privileges that I don't have and things that I don't have access to. So this word is meaningless, and they are perpetuating what the oppressor has saying by calling me it.
That's a lot to take in, right? That was a lot to take in.
That was excellent.
Yeah, in some.
And the way that it's been reclaimed over time I would say in the 90s throughout the hip hop, well, the 80s, 90s, and now is there's a level of intimacy with it that can only be felt among those of likeness. It is not for you. It's one of the only things that's not for you. And
the only thing, really,
right,
literally.
Right. Everything else you can say, you can do, you can see, you can touch, you can afford, and this is one thing that you can't.
Is that not the definition of what is divisive?
It doesn't matter. This
We
is
didn't
one
create
that
the
doesn't
division.
that doesn't matter.
And it's before you and I.
There's some things that perpetuate.
And I totally get that, but the whole argument like with movements now, like with Black Lives Matter and Me Too, is like equal. It's like equality in distinction.
It's not equality, right? It's equity. So the difference between equality and equity, right? So like, say you and I, we got paid like the same amount, right? But like being someone who goes through generational debt, I not only have like my debt, I also have like my parents' debt, right? So that's equality, is like us getting the same amount of money. You still out here living your best life and I'm still out here paying debt. Equity is saying that we are going to give you like, I don't know, student loan forgiveness so that y'all are now operating through like life, and y'all have the opportunity to operate through life in the same ways. Would we operate through life in the same ways? No, because like I'm a black person, a gender non-conforming person, right? So anytime I go to the bathroom, fill out forms, like it's a different experience for me, right? But trying to like raise it so that we can try to experience life or have similar opportunities and not be judged like based on like the ways that we are. So I just want to break down equality and equity. With the Black Lives Matter movement, it's not like us being like we need to be equal. It's us saying there needs to be an acknowledgement that there's a disadvantage happening here and that there's change that needs to happen so that these disadvantages don't exist or can be disrupted.
Okay. I think in the way that the social climate is, or like the political climate is right now, I think it's more prevalent than ever that there is an acknowledgement. But I still think the basis of like using the word and like not allowing a certain race to use that word, like that is inherently divisive.
But who created the division?
I mean, the word stems from something.
We didn't
sure,
start
but like
calling.
I'm using like an associate property, like kike was like, it's like a derivative of like a derogatory word that was like created in World War II for like the Jews with like that were being oppressed in like Eastern Europe and Germany. And so like that is a very derogatory word, but that is not used among Jews.
But that not here, right?
It's not used anywhere. Like I would never go to Israel and be like, "What's up, kike?"
That's a conscious choice of Jewish people deciding that that's one of the more derogatory words that can be utilized. This word has changed over time. The connotation has changed over time.
Here. The history is here.
Nigga's not used overseas.
They don't use it like
it's
that.
It's here. And you know, Kiswahili is used in prison systems by black men because it's the only way that they can communicate without being heard by the prison officials.
Sure.
I mean, these things change over time, and some of them, things are going to be divided. Since there's been a man and a woman on this planet, there's been a division, right?
I think it's an inherent division. We're actually different.
Fine.
Physically.
Fine.
Yeah.
But so I think the idea that division is going to be ameliorated and we're not going to have that going forward because life is going to be beautiful in a place of equality is like that's an idealistic idea that's not going to be happening.
And I also
think,
I also think like, you know, yes, we're different, you know, just men and women, just like you said, like, yeah, we're physically different, we're different, but it's for so much of time, men have been predominantly seen as better. And now women are like, no, we have to, like, it's our turn and it's our time we need to be equal. Or we need to be seen as just as good, if not better. You know, it's like, because men were the ones who are just, like,
status quo.
Yeah, status quo. And it's like, because there's some disruption. I think for the N-word conversation, like, I am like, I'm not going to say it. Like, that's not mine. That's not mine. But I also think it's like, that should blackface still be a thing? Like, why are we having those conversations when there are like bigger issues of like, it's just not equal? Or like, there are just bigger things to worry about where like, you know, police officers treat people differently.
Sure.
So it's like, why does that happen? Like, who cares? I don't want to say who cares because that makes it, because like I don't have to deal with it. Like, who cares if someone uses a word that you can't use? But because that's just like, there are just bigger issues, and it doesn't affect me. And that.
But why would you want to say it? What is it like? Does saying the N-word, does a white person saying the N-word make you feel empowered? Because that's the problem in the first place, is white people saying it.
I think what
he's saying, it's relatability.
Well, I think what he's saying is
like we're athletes, right? Like, and honestly, like in a locker room like of a collegiate sport, the majority of the athletes happen to be African black, and like there was actually like an athlete in the New England Patriots locker room who dropped that word and it was caught on Instagram, and he like got in a lot of trouble. But I bet you in that locker room he says it all the fucking time.
Yeah, but just because it's in a locker room, that's like if they're all talking about how they're sexually harassing women. But just because it's in a locker room, like just because it's like behind doors.
Back to a level of intimacy, because you said earlier that when you're an athlete, this is your brotherhood. So there's a level of intimacy there that maybe the other teammates allowed him in.
Okay,
we have friends that are white that said it around us. I already think of one KM, for instance, that said it. Well, whatever. Don't care. So don't fuck with you anyway. But like, you know, there are people around us that didn't. I felt like at that time that was almost socioeconomically related in that sphere. Yeah. I don't know. As we've gotten older, things have changed. I mean, it's migrated, but
because I even feel like it's not okay for a lot of other black people to come say what's up, my nigga, to people they don't know. I feel like you have to have a level of understanding in order to say it. If I don't know you, I'm not gonna call. I have to get to know you.
Those are fighting words.
Those are fighting words to some people. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's just freely said all over the world. It's not. Literally, it comes with a different aspect. I feel like that word coming from a Caucasian to a black male is so deeply rooted. I wouldn't want to even get into it with you as far as, you know, fighting or however it can go. It's just like, you know what? It was used for that amount of time for this. It is becoming a new face. The word has a new face, and we're using it more for empowerment now. But at the same time, even, you know, most of the time I try to hold myself from using it a lot, you know? It's just what it is. But at the same fact, it's just a word that shouldn't really be touched by the white.
Anyone that hasn't truly been affected.
I say anybody that's not black, because we know that like racism is also perpetuated by like non-black people. We, I don't know if y'all heard of like what happened in Flatbush at the nail salon when it was a grandmother and her two kids, and they messed up the child's, I think, eyebrows or nails, and she refused to pay, and they locked the store and they beat them down with broomsticks and threw acid on them. But yet the black women were the ones that were like arrested, right? So we know that like racism exists outside of like whiteness, right? But it's in proximity to whiteness, because anything that's not black, whether it's people who are Asian or people who are Hispanic, are still in closer proximity to whiteness according to our racial constructs.
Technically, black or white is not a color, we're all shades. Just throw that in there.
But race is
Yeah.
a real construct that has existed for hundreds of years. That is the reason why there's world hunger, the reason why there's like poverty, the reason why like climate change is happening, right? Because people were like, regardless of like how you feel, you're not white, and we're gonna take your land and we're gonna disrupt your land and cause earthquakes and all types of global changes, right?
Wasn't it global warming?
Global warming is definitely human made. We know this, and it's not people of color, because we know that like indigenous populations and we know African populations have cohabitated with animals and life since the beginning of time. It wasn't until like Europeans started going and taking over land and disrupting land, deforestation started to happen.
Deforestation is the big
started
one.
to happen
Grazing,
that
that's
like
the problem.
climate change really became an issue.
People are the best and they're the worst. Humans are the best and
Humans are the worst thing to ever
These are
happen
the
to this
worst.
planet.
To the planet.
But like
Yeah.
we're the only ones like but then you hear about people doing like incredible things, like cleaning up the ocean, like
That one
Pacific
kid,
thing.
the kid that brought
And like
that thing out there,
or
the
built,
ocean shit is crazy.
it's someone
It's huge.
said an investor came to my office and he was like, every piece of technology, like fire, we're gonna include like can be used for good or evil, and like it's up to us now for the future to create technology that's only going to be good used for good.
But with capitalism, it doesn't work like
It doesn't work like that. That's why humans are the worst.
Because people are greedy.
Yeah. So they're the worst, but hopefully, like, there's some.
It comes down to money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everything seems to stipulate to money.
But money for whom?
I can agree. I mean, that's how it's. That's at the end of the day. That's how it's always gonna be, until there's a dramatic change. And
Did
like,
you gain any clarity there?
No, I honestly I didn't. It's still a gray area. Like I know that I'm not going to use that word.
Right.
I know I'm not going to use it.
I
But-
think so many issues. Like, I actually don't like to have a lot of conversations with people that are like on one side of the spectrum or not. Like, you are very different than like a black family. Like, your upbringing is very different. Like, you're right. Families are all the same. They all go through their shit, but like, we just have
What
had
shit
different.
they go through is very different.
And we've
from
just
one
had
another.
very different experiences. Like, I haven't had to deal with any sort of like racism, or like, I don't even know what that is, but as a woman, I've had to deal with sexual harassment, like sexual assault, like not being listened to in the workplace, like all of these things, everything. But I don't talk to a lot of men about it because not a lot of people. It's hard to understand, but not a lot of people are willing to be like, okay, this affects you. I'm going to change in this way. Or like, I might not, and I'm never going to understand it, but you're educating me on like why I can't say that word. So I'm not going to say it because it's like offensive. And you can say, well, it's not equal. It's not equal, but like life isn't equal. And I just wish more people were like, really would listen and be like, I don't know, men, like, yeah, well, white men are having a hard time this year. But like, well, that's 1 year out of all of this. And it's because people are actually like pushing back. And like I said, I like get exhausted when I have conversations because so many people don't really try to listen and try to adjust their views and how things are. And
a lot of that also is because like what you said, that you're like sitting here, you're learning stuff, but it's also when people learn this information, do you hold it in or do you talk to other people? Like you say, you're not going to say the N-word, but if you hear another white person say the N-word, are you going to tell them not to say it? Be like, hey, actually that's something we probably shouldn't be saying.
No, but I'll be like, dude, what the fuck?
But I'm saying that's the more important conversation.
I won't know
right?
exactly how to tell him why not to say that.
But we just gave you reasons why. We just gave you a lot of reasons.
It's
why.
just if he could understand,
I
like,
still
really grasp
don't
the
really
reason
grasp
why.
the
It's just bad. Like if I just tell you as a
grasping.
parent, like don't say that word, it's a bad word. Period.
Yeah.
Would you choose to use it again or not, or would you just understand that it's a bad word that can hurt people? I guess is the more so standing to say that word can really hurt someone or cause conflict between you and someone for you not to use it.
So that makes complete sense to me. Like it causes conflict for sure. But like I'll take that back. I understand why I should not say that word. I still don't understand why it's appropriate for a black person to say.
Because it's our choice.
Fuck that.
Well, then that's your fucking problem, Colton. I mean, this is why I can't talk with you about this. Like, that's why.
Like, you just
You're
said, fuck
unwilling
400 years of history.
You're unwilling to waver or bend on one fucking word that you can't say.
And we're telling you it's hurting us.
And it's painful. And I can say it to these people, but do I even say it? No. Would my dad ever fucking say it? No. I didn't grow up with this word. But I understand the association of intimacy with the understanding of this population and going through years of a thing. That you understand.
Let me say this. I'm not saying that like I want to say that word.
Right.
I am saying like I think it's bad that black people use that word.
And that's fine.
That's what I'm saying.
You can label that as bad. That's not going to affect the 3 people at this table.
Okay, that is what I'm saying. I have zero interest in saying the N-word.
Right.
Zero interest at all. I think that in pop culture and shows and music and things that are promoted to people of everyone, it's bad because it stems from a really fucked up place.
Yes.
I don't have zero interest in saying it.
That's correct.
Let me say that.
And as you know, going along with that, we did remote year fucking going to Croatia, for instance. I don't know if this happened in your group or if you ever saw this, but like there was a man that was around and he loved to grab on the brown girls. Grab on, hold on, follow us. We were called Negroids because that's what they still know to be true. It's called Negroid. And they thought this was a level of relationship. They hear our music, niggas used, black people are glorified here, and so they're like, oh my God, that black person, that's a Negroid. I've heard about those Negroids. I've never seen one. I want to touch one, right? And so that's now my choice of whether I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna bring my Americanness with me and be like, you step into me with all this, like I can't handle this, but also they may have never come across any other black person to give them the story, the guidance, the understanding as to why you're a little antiquated. Let's just discuss like this. So that decision of like, am I gonna discuss this or am I gonna get mad or am I just gonna bypass this is a thing, true. Yes, it comes from a bad place, you're absolutely right. But it's still your choice to think that it's bad and others' choices to not think that it's so bad in our frame of reference. And that's, I think, the place of discord or misunderstanding.
Sure. So watching Insecure, right? Which
that was the homework I gave him.
Yeah, you get, all right.
I was like, watch
I got through 6.
Okay.
in like 5 days, which is all right.
There's like 8 episodes.
There's 8 episodes. I'm almost to the first season, right? Okay. Anyways, like that word, it's what's up?
Sorry, 1 minute. I'm like, oh my God, this time is going.
So that word, like black to black relations, it's used in like friendly connotation.
Yep.
It's used in like a very derogatory. It's like, you did that? Like a very bad connotation and everything under the umbrella. So like it's I've read the point you just said. You just said like the word has been like taking back ownership and like reclaimed. Reclaimed or whatever. And like I have zero interest in using it, but I think it's bad. Like that word historically is bad, but now it's because it's used in common vernacular in different ways, it's good and bad.
Can I insert? Okay, I know this may be hard to believe because like as a white person, like most of the things that are created in our society are catered towards white people, but is it possible that the music that you listen to where they say the N-word and the shows that you watch actually might not be for you? That you're not the ideal audience for that, and that them saying nigga or nigger maybe to relate to other black people and not necessarily you. So yes, it is used in mainstream hip hop and it is used in mainstream TV, but the audience target may not be you. So the basis of your argument has been, but they're using it on TV and they're using it on music, but they're using it and it's not for your consumption. You are choosing to consume it and then critiquing that that it should not be used for the audience that it's targeted to be used for. So this is you being like, I'm sitting in all my privilege and I've been able to do all these things. And if y'all are talking about equality, then I should be able to do this too. When like everybody saying the N-word isn't going to get everybody free. Like if they were to make a law right now, we're just like everybody can say the N-word, that's not going to get people free. So when you are over here sitting talking about there are like bigger fish to fry, this is you like sitting in your privilege right now and being like, I can't do something, so this is an issue.
Again, let me say like I have zero interest in using the N-word. I have like a problem with that it's still okay for people to use it.
When I was 15, I got my first blowjob from a girl. I'll never forget, it was Super Bowl. It was in the bathroom, it was halftime.
You'll never forget!
My buddy he looked at me and he said, did you use protection? And I said, Dad, no, I just got a blowjob.
Oh no!
We didn't have sex.
And what is it societally that like makes it, it's like a job. It's like, okay, we have turned 15 now. We have a job to do. Like, what is that?
And everyone knew within a couple days I was the man, and the girl got tormented.
Absolutely. Can you imagine being the girl that died from the D?
I was raised Southern Baptist, right? So sex is just like wrong no matter what. And so then I felt like I was a sinner just for having a sexual body. So I started to really hate myself for it.
We're in it now. So we just wrapped our convo and it was excellent. We hope you liked it. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow YouTube, Patreon, Instagram, Facebook. And yes, you'll see this ending a lot because who doesn't love a little consistency, and we wanted to do it one time, so let's do it.